I woke up on my birthday with an unsettling quiet in my small apartment. The faint hum of the air conditioner and the distant noise of traffic drifting through the thin walls were all that reminded me the world was still moving forward. I swallowed down a lump of loneliness as I slipped out of bed. My name is Emma Miller, and I had expected to wake up surrounded by balloons, cards, messages, anything that said someone cared. Instead, the silence wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. I moved through the apartment, pouring myself coffee and staring out at the view of the neighboring buildings. No colorful banners across the walls, no delivery waiting at the door. The thought passed through me, maybe no one remembered. It wasn't the first time. Birthdays had a way of reminding me that I was often overlooked. I forced myself to swallow the creeping disappointment and decided to make the day something special, despite the lack of celebration. I dressed in a favorite floral dress, the one that always made me feel a little more like myself. As I looked in the mirror, I turned my face to the light filtering through the window and sighed. "Happy birthday, me," I whispered. It was half encouragement, half apology. I stepped out into the lobby, greeting the concierge politely. He offered a smile when he wished me a good morning. There was a small card in his hand, a simple white envelope with gold lettering. When he handed it to me, a flicker of hope surged. I opened it in the elevator, the doors closing behind me. Inside, the message read, "Happy birthday. From someone who appreciates you." There was no signature. I gripped it as if it were a warm lifeline and slipped it into my purse before stepping outside. The city streets buzzed with the Saturday rhythm, families in parks, couples wandering with iced coffees, groups of friends gathered for brunch. I walked past a cafe, inhaling the warm scent of freshly baked bread and the hiss of the barista's espresso machine. It felt like a cruel reminder of all the birthday brunches I wasn't invited to. Still, I smiled, nursed my coffee, and carried that mysterious card as a secret treasure. By midday, I decided to take myself out to lunch. I chose a small bistro I'd been meaning to visit, sat on the terrace, and ordered a meal just for me. I took a deep breath, appreciating the sunshine and the buzz around me. Maybe I couldn't share my birthday with others, but I could still show myself kindness. Halfway through my salad, I noticed a woman across the terrace who looked a lot like me, dark hair, thoughtful expression. I caught her looking, and she smiled. She lifted her glass and toasted in my direction. I returned the gesture, and suddenly that lunch didn't feel lonely at all. I returned home with a bag from a bookstore I'd stopped in on my way back. A new novel felt like the perfect birthday gift from me to me. I sank into the couch and opened the envelope. The handwriting was elegant, anonymous but considerate. Time passed and the afternoon draped into early evening. I lit a few candles and set up fairy lights in the living room, giving the space a cozy glow. I was preparing for a quiet night in when I heard a knock on my door. It was unlikely, no one ever knocked unannounced. Curiosity beat out caution. I walked to the door and peered through the peephole. On the threshold stood a little boy, maybe around 8 years old, holding a single red balloon and a half-melted ice cream cone. He had bright eyes and a tentative smile. I opened the door. "Hi," he said softly. His hair was brown, tousled, and his jacket looked too big for him. I live next door with my mom and dad. We saw your card in the lobby. I made this for you." My breath caught as he extended the balloon to me. Attached was a small note, scribbled with a child's careful shapes. "Happy birthday. Love, Ethan." My neighbor's son Ethan. I recognized them in passing, but we'd never spoken beyond polite greetings in the hallway. Ethan stood there, looking a little shy. His ice cream dripped onto the sidewalk. I knelt to be at his level. "Thank you, Ethan. That's very kind." He offered the cone. "Want some?" he asked hopefully. I laughed. "It looks delicious." I took a small bite, and his face lit up, deepening the smile. He cupped the cone in his hand, and I took a seat on my stoop. We ate the ice cream together, the balloon drifting above us gently, brighter than the streetlights flickering on down below. He told me how he loved birthdays, especially because of the balloons and cake and candles. I told him my favorite cake was strawberry shortcake with whipped cream. He nodded solemnly and said he would write a proper drawn card later. I found myself feeling lighter than I had all day. After a few minutes, he stood and straightened his shoulders. "I have to go inside," he said. "Dinner's ready. My mom asked me to say happy birthday, too." Before he turned away, he turned back and said quietly, "You're not alone." And with that, he skipped off down the walkway. Inside, I closed the door with trembling hands. I looked at the balloon, now pinned against the wall. I felt tears prickle at my eyes. No one could have predicted how a small gesture from an unexpected place could break through months of isolation. The rest of the evening felt different. I cooked a simple dinner, lit my candles, had a slice of strawberry shortcake I'd picked up from a bakery. In my tiny living room, illuminated by candlelight and glowing fairy lights, I had the best birthday I could remember. I sat with the balloon by my side, the scribbled birthday wish pinned to it, and I felt seen. The next day, I found Ethan playing with his friends outside. I brought him a small bag of fresh strawberries and a tiny card drawn with crayons and glitter. It said, "Thank you, Ethan. You made my birthday." He smiled bright enough to light the whole street. His parents came over to chat. His mom, a friendly woman named Angela, said, "We're glad you had someone to share the day with." His dad, a quiet man named Mark, smiled kindly and said, "Let us know if you ever want to join us next time." A new connection formed. I realized birthdays don't need fanfare to be meaningful. Sometimes, they just need a reminder that someone cares, even if that someone is 8 years old with ice cream in hand. I never felt more grateful for the simple humanity of a child and an anonymous card. I learned that day that kindness matters more than confetti, and that a solitary life can still become shared in the most unexpected ways. That birthday marked a turning point. I began spending more time with my neighbors, inviting them in for coffee, sharing meals, laughing with Ethan about school and superheroes. The balloons came less often, but I didn't need them. I had something simpler, more real: belonging.